Enzo Fernandez had an exclusive interview with Ben Jacobs. Jacobs is a football broadcaster, a senior correspondent with Give Me Sport, and also a commentator with Talk Sport. So in this video, we'll take a look at the exclusive interview Enzo Fernandez had with Ben Jacobs. But before we dive into it, over the weekend, Chelsea played a 1-1 draw with 10 men against Arsenal in most parts of the game after Moses Caicedo saw a red card. I mean, the performance of Chelsea against Arsenal was out of this world. It was out of this world. I've never been so excited with points drop, but yet what I saw in Chelsea, what I saw from the performance of the players was one thing that actually gave me lots of hope that we are actually in the right track. So, 10-man Chelsea held Arsenal to a 1-1 draw in a massive London derby over the weekend. So let's go straight into the latest happening. Enzo Fernandez had an exclusive interview with Ben Jacobs, like I said earlier, and that is what we are going to be taking a look at in this video. And also, there is speculations that Real Madrid president might just be looking to bring back Zinedine Zidane to take charge of Real Madrid again. So stick around as I take you through the latest happening. Enzo Fernandez, in his exclusive interview with Ben Jacobs, was asked about his early life in Chelsea Football Club. And here is what Enzo Fernandez actually responded. I am used to winning all the time. And when I came here, the results were very poor. I liked winning and I hate losing. I had to live through a frustrating period on a personal level because of what was going on. It helped us develop and improve. I am very happy with how things are at the club these days. It was a very tough time because when I arrived, many players and coaches were coming and going. In the end, Chelsea went for Enzo Maresca. That is when the club started to build more solid foundations as a group. We developed our footballing identity, which has been great for the squad. Now you can see how settled we are and what a talented squad we are. We are a really good side and we get on well on and off the pitch. For the last 18 months to 2 years, we have had such positive feelings here. That's Enzo Fernandez actually narrating his early life at Chelsea. In fact, in what he said in that interview is just what lots of us have actually seen and we have been witnessing in the club. Enzo Fernandez came to Chelsea from Benfica after an excellent performance in the World Cup in Qatar 2022 that Argentina went on to lift the trophy, and Enzo Fernandez was very instrumental for the Argentine national team. So when the opportunity to join Chelsea actually presented itself, Enzo Fernandez quickly jumped into it and take that very opportunity of a dream of wanting to play in the Premier League and the early start and coming to Chelsea in the early stage of his Chelsea career. I mean, Enzo Fernandez actually faced a lot of challenges. It happens because when players change from one club to another, some actually get it. Some actually adapt so quick and easily to the philosophy of football in that new terrain. But in the case of Enzo Fernandez, it's as if the club was already in crisis before his coming. And with the price tag which Enzo Fernandez actually came to Chelsea, lots of criticism was actually at Enzo Fernandez. Some actually saw it as a waste of money that Chelsea actually pumped into it. And he went on to narrate some of the challenges. He said when he came, players were coming in and coaches were going out. And that is actually true. Because when the Bluco ownership took over, Thomas Tuchel was just at the end of affair as Chelsea manager. And after a couple of matches, Thomas Tuchel was relieved of his job, and Graham Potter was actually hired to be the Chelsea next manager. I think that was the first official manager that the Bluco ownership actually hired for Chelsea Football Club. And believe me, in those period of time, with Graham Potter in charge, no disrespect to him as a manager, Chelsea lost identity in our football. We never knew what we're doing. Our football was having no direction. And that is the point Enzo Fernandez is trying to narrate out here. Lots of managers actually came through during that period. When Graham Potter was actually fired, Bruno Salter, I think he actually worked in Chelsea, was in charge for just one game. And that particular game, he played it through and he actually gave way. Frank Lampard was brought in as to take charge of Chelsea. And Frank Lampard was fired. The next thing we saw was Mauricio Pochettino came in. After Mauricio Pochettino, Lampard again actually came for the second time and he had a very bad stint. And at the end, with what Enzo Fernandez is trying to narrate here, Chelsea actually went for Enzo Maresca. And when Enzo Maresca came, he said in his word, that is when our football began to take shape. That is when we began to build something very solid. And definitely, we are actually seeing the result. He went on to say it in the last 18 months to 2 years, we have actually had lots of positive under Enzo Maresca. Well, he might just be saying the truth, but the real thing here is, if he said in the last 2 years, probably when Enzo Maresca came in as Chelsea manager, because this is his second season with Chelsea Football Club, and in his first season went on to lift the Conference League that Chelsea was actually taking part on at that point in time, and also went on to lift the Club World Cup trophy, and I actually finished in the top 4 for Chelsea last season. It was good to see that the football was beginning to take shape, and this began to happen sometime in April last year. If I should be asked, when the Chelsea football began to take shape, I think it was in one of our Premier League games when we went away to Fulham at the Craven Cottage, when Terry George came from the bench to actually give us the equalizer because we were trailing Fulham by 1-0. And towards the late minute in that particular encounter, Pedro Neto scored a stunner and we went on to defeat Fulham by 2-1. That was where our season actually takes shape. And ever since then, we can actually see the progress in our football. So that is the point Enzo Fernandez is actually trying to bring out. So on that note, when he talked about Enzo Maresca, this is what Enzo Fernandez went on to say about Enzo Maresca. Maresca brought a clear identity which helped us get results. As a consequence, things are now easier daily. He has helped friendship in the squad grow. He has singled out the way he guides us, teaches us every day in training. That was quite good to hear from Enzo Fernandez about Enzo Maresca. And we are seeing that playing out every day. Enzo Maresca, at this point, I must say, personally, if I've never regarded Enzo Maresca as one manager with tactical IQ, I think I dope my cap for him from now henceforth. Personally, when Chelsea went for Enzo Maresca, I was also one person that actually criticized that move. Enzo Maresca from Championship. The only thing we know about Enzo Maresca's CV was that he was part of the Manchester City setup. And when he left Manchester City, he went to Championship to take over Leicester City, which he actually guided them to the Premier League the following season before Chelsea went to snap him up. And as at that point in time, we all were just looking, as Chelsea fans, we were looking, what is Todd Boehly and co doing? But come to think of it, Enzo Maresca actually proved so many of us wrong. Personally, he has actually proved me wrong. His tactical IQ is top notch. His knowledge about the game is just something that is second to none. And I think every day, like he always say, he grows in the game every day as a manager while working on the player's side too. So Enzo Maresca is one manager that is actually making a name for himself in the world of football, because he has actually proved that in several occasions, most especially in the big games. Enzo Maresca is a tactical manager. He knows how to approach big games and get results out of it. And that is just what we are seeing. So Enzo Fernandez on Enzo Maresca is definitely spot on. Enzo Fernandez was also asked in that interview if Chelsea are in the title race. And here's what Enzo Fernandez responded. Enzo Fernandez on whether Chelsea are title contenders. Of course, we are this season. There are many contenders. Liverpool, Manchester City, Man United, all the teams are battling towards the top. Arsenal have also been doing really well for many years. They have been doing well for many years. What have they showed out of it? Anyway, it gets to show that there's consistency when we look at the Arsenal setup. But there's no trophy yet to show. They have been doing well for many years, but that's true. But so, like Enzo Fernandez said, Chelsea are in the title race, and I want to agree with him because currently the position where we are, we sit third in the Premier League currently with 24 points, 1 point behind Manchester City that actually sits second, and 6 points behind the league leaders, talking about Arsenal. So I agree with Enzo Fernandez. Chelsea are in the title race. Enzo Fernandez was asked about the Club World Cup final, and here's what he said. Enzo Fernandez on the Club World Cup final, that success will always hold a special place in my heart. Talking about the Club World Cup, and he's actually describing that the success Chelsea had in the United States of America, where the Club World Cup actually took place. He said the success holds a special place in his heart. So Enzo Fernandez went on to say, on the Club World Cup Champions badge, it means so much to have the World Champion badge, and it's a huge privilege for our club. We will try to show our opponents in every game that we are made of it. It's a wonderful privilege to wear the badge, and that is just it. That badge is a badge of champion, and that is just what it means. And what Enzo Fernandez is trying to put forward here is that for every game we approach, we will show our opponent that we are putting on the badge of a champion, and therefore we are coming into this game as champion, and we approach every game as champions. And that is what Chelsea have been doing so far, and things are beginning to look very okay when it comes to Chelsea setup. The defense line is beginning to click. I mean, the midfield, it has been top-notch. One of the engine room of Chelsea Football Club this season so far, being marshaled by Moses Caicedo. So, Enzo Fernandez went on to say that the Club World Cup badge is just a badge of champion. Enzo Fernandez on the opportunity he had before he joined Chelsea. And this is what he had to say. Enzo Fernandez, I said to Rio, talking about his Benfica manager at the time, please let me fulfill my dream of playing in Premier League for a big club like Chelsea. Luckily, he understood. He was a history-making transfer. I am grateful to him for accepting the offer. That was quite a good one from Rio, which Enzo Fernandez actually said, for actually granting his request. I mean, no team will have a player like Enzo Fernandez in their midfield that have been doing great. I mean, in the midfield of Benfica at the time, Enzo Fernandez was just unplayable. He was simply unplayable, running things for Benfica before the World Cup. And after the World Cup, he finds himself being a Chelsea player, fulfilling his dream come true, despite having a difficult start at Chelsea Football Club. And today, Enzo Fernandez is one player that is very happy, very instrumental in the midfield of Chelsea. His partnership with Moses Caicedo, is just top-notch. In the past couple of matches, the last game we played against Arsenal at Stamford Bridge, Enzo Fernandez was phenomenal. He was everywhere. The game before that Arsenal game, talking about the Champions League against FC Barcelona, we're seeing an Iniesta in the form of Enzo Fernandez. And that's just how good Enzo Fernandez has turned out to be for us. And we are very pleased that Enzo Fernandez finally clicked, despite having a very difficult start at Chelsea Football Club. And Enzo Fernandez was asked about Frank Lampard. Here's what he said. I clearly remember Lampard's time at Chelsea, along with John Terry, Claude Makalele, and many other players who played here. I will always remember those moments because when I was little, I used to watch the Premier League in bed with my father. Definitely. Players of his age, I know so many of them have watched the likes, the legendary John Terry and Frank Lampard, Claude Makalele and co, just like he said, that he used to watch Chelsea game and he watched the Premier League with his father on bed, which means the game is going on, they just lie down and they are catching fun. That's just what he's actually saying. So he actually said lots of things in that interview with Ben Jacob, and I think I read in Ben Jacob's official Twitter handle that the video is also available on YouTube. If you want to get a full clip of that interview that Enzo Fernandez had with Ben Jacob, you can go and search on Ben Jacob's YouTube channel. I think it's available there, and you will watch the full video interview. So let's switch gear and talk about one man, Nicholas Jackson. Check this out. Nicholas Jackson will not play for Chelsea again. The story is over for several reasons, and it was a mutual decision. Several clubs are already attentive to the situation if Bayern do not decide to buy him. This is coming from Fabrizio Romano, that Nicholas Jackson will not play for Chelsea again. The story is over. The story is over. The story is over for Nicholas Jackson's move to Chelsea. Currently is on loan at Bayern Munich, and Bayern Munich have been saying it. There's reports and rumors all around that Bayern Munich don't intend to keep Nicolas Jackson on a permanent deal. So, at the end of the season, Nicolas Jackson will just be returning to Chelsea. But then, clubs are interested in him because Chelsea will no longer want to use Nicolas Jackson after all that have actually went down during that transfer saga to Bayern Munich. So we'll wait to see how this play out in the near future, talking about next season. So also, we have this coming out from Real Madrid, because Real Madrid have actually been going through some kind of unstable situation. It has not been palatable. The last 3 matches in the La Liga, Real Madrid have not gotten a win. They all draw. They drew their last match against, is it Alves? They drew against Elche. They drew against Girona. Girona was the last match they went away to draw. They drew against Alves, and they also drew against Elche. 3 straight draws in La Liga, placing them currently second behind Barcelona in the La Liga table. And here's the report that is coming out from Real Madrid. Breaking. The next few matches will be crucial for Real Madrid. If Xabi Alonso is sacked, Zinedine Zidane is the president's only option to replace him. The news is pending confirmation from major media outlets, but comes from Madrid insider. So, an insider in Real Madrid is actually bringing out this. So just take it with a pinch of salt. It might be true, it might not be true. That the next couple of matches for Real Madrid will be very crucial, as Alonso is definitely at this point in time sitting on a time bomb. But I don't think it should be so. This is just the first season for Xabi Alonso, and so far he's second in the La Liga standing, and I've actually lost just 1 match. So I don't think, if this news is anything to go by, then because the person that actually the source of the news, which is at Pepe Alvarez, is an insider from Real Madrid, saying that the Madrid president is only looking at Zinedine Zidane as the only option to replace Xabi Alonso should he be sacked before the end of the season, because Real Madrid have been struggling to win games of late. And to think of it, Kylian Mbappe have been scoring goals from all cylinders, but yet the goals are not giving them the wins. That is just the issue. The last 4 games, I've actually seen them play 1-1 and drew 3. The 3 draws have been in La Liga, and the only win came when they went away to Olympiacos in the UEFA Champions League to defeat Olympiacos by 4-3 in a 7-goal thriller, with Kylian Mbappe scoring all 4 goals. I mean, Mbappe have been on fire, but then it seems Real Madrid backline have been conceding goals for fun, because Kylian Mbappe goals doesn't actually help them of late to win matches. So that is just what is currently being spread around. And looks like after that report was spreading out, here is what this is actually saying. Just in, Real Madrid are not considering sacking Xabi Alonso as it stands. So it looks like a counter report to what was earlier stated, that Real Madrid are not considering sacking Xabi Alonso. So which means Xabi Alonso currently, his job is safe. But then it's a wake-up call for Xabi Alonso to actually work out things in order to fix Real Madrid defense line, such that the results, the goals Mbappe will score, will count for their winning. So what do you make of all the latest that have just come in so far? Talking about Enzo Fernandez that had exclusive interview with Ben Jacob. And in that interview, he stated that Chelsea are in the title race. Do you agree? Is Chelsea in the title race or not? Drop your thoughts down below. Thank you very much for watching, and please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. See you in my next video. Bye.